Welcome to Fresh Off the Set. I'm Carrie Hawker-Diaz.
And I'm Sarah Jenkins.
Thanks for listening today. Okay, we have a fun one today. Have you ever heard of cryptocurrency, Sarah?
Cryptocurrency, I feel like I heard nothing about until the past 2 years, maybe 3 years, and I still feel like I know so little about it. It's frankly really daunting.
It is, because it's like taking over. I feel like more and more I'm hearing, a few years ago, I would hear people talk about like Bitcoin and those type of things, and I didn't really know what it was. I was confused, but it's like everywhere now.
It's everywhere, and more people seem to be really like talking about how amazing it is and how you have to get on board. But I think like anything when it's new technology or just a concept that people are unsure of, it takes a while for people to get on board, right? There's a lot of skepticism.
We were laughing earlier because we were saying it takes a lot to get our parents to get on Venmo even, you know?
Totally. My parents are the same way. I mean, it's just, people are skeptical, but I think there are a lot of good things. And I think it's great when you can break down a concept that's maybe intimidating to people and kind of piece by piece talk about it.
Right. Well, I talked to Dan Young. You'll know him as Dan the Laptop Man. We interview him all the time on our show. And he kind of explained cryptocurrency. I mean, he says it's going to be the future. He said, think about in the past where you had like people were trading chickens for cows and then like gold and silver and then like money and then credit cards. Right. Cryptocurrency is going to be the next wave.
It's the next chicken to the gold to the credit.
It is. If you
somewhere
just
in there
follow that path. So I had a great interview with him. So let's check it out.
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Carrie Hawker-Diaz, and we have an amazing guest in studio today. It's Dan the Laptop Man. You know him as Dan Young. And Dan, it's great to see you.
Oh, so happy to be here.
We just
joy! This is great. I'm so stoked.
When you walk in the door, like it's just you light up the room, and we trust you with like all knowledge because you're so incredibly smart at things. And we wanted to bring you in because you're hearing this thing called cryptocurrency everywhere. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't heard it, you probably will very soon. So we wanted you to kind of break it down for us. So maybe we just start with, what is cryptocurrency?
So I'll tell you in a complex way, and then I'll speak in a very simple, easy to understand way.
Okay.
The complex way is it's a digital ledger, right? It's public typically so that everybody can see every transaction, right? And for example, with Bitcoin, the biggest one, there's only 21 million Bitcoins, and 19 million of them have been made already, and the rest are being mined. So you hear about cryptocurrency mining.
Yep,
right?
I've heard that, yeah.
And that's like the big one, but there's like thousands of different cryptocurrencies out there that have different uses.
Yeah.
Right? But think about this. You know how you have your bank statement, right? And banks keep your money on a ledger. You actually don't, normally have too much physical money now, right?
Yeah.
It's all digital, your credit card, everything like that. Mm-hmm. And so instead of it being controlled by a private corporation, it's a public record.
Oh, that's the difference.
Right, yeah. So, like, you hear all these, like, jokers, oh, Bitcoins are used for crime. It's like, no, if you go into Pablo Escobar's basement, he's got $100 bills and AK-47s. He does not have crypto. He doesn't even know what it is, right?
Guaranteed.
I mean, it's like, come on. Like,
Go
seriously.
on.
So, so cryptocurrency is a digital ledger.
Okay.
That's usually public. It can be private, but usually public. And it's really how the universe is going to move to as far as all transactions. Guaranteed. We went from trading a goat for like some clams, right?
That's a really good point. And then we moved to
gold, silver.
Yeah.
And then paper money, right? And then credit
crypto.
cards.
Mm-hmm.
Now crypto.
That when you put it that way, that makes a lot of sense, because I'm thinking in my mind, well, dollar bills and coins, all this has been around forever, so it probably will be, and this will just be kind of like a side thing. But you're right. It's progress.
Yeah, it's the evolution of our universe.
Right. Okay, so when I hear the word cryptocurrency, it intimidates me a little bit because I don't exactly, I mean, you've explained, what it is now, but isn't there a bunch of different types of cryptocurrency? And I feel like I hear Bitcoin a lot. Is that the most popular one?
Bitcoin's the big one, kind of like precious metals. Like Bitcoin would be like gold, right? And you have like platinum and silver and all kinds of things. So you have tons of different variants and things out there, but Bitcoin's like the big one.
Okay.
That's the gold standard.
That's the gold standard. How does it work exactly? Like, say I want to buy a Bitcoin. What is my dollar worth for a Bitcoin?
Well, it depends on the price of Bitcoin. Just like if you wanted to buy gold, I want you to use that metaphor in your head.
Oh, you're right. It changes.
So gold per ounce changes.
Right.
Per Bitcoin changes, right? So I think right now it's like at 36,000 It was up to like 60 something thousand. It's dropped to 30,000 something, 32,000 or something. You know, it's going to fluctuate just like gold. But gold has been 2,000 an ounce and 350 an ounce. So like things, it's the same thing as gold, but digital.
Okay. And do you want to buy in when the value, when the value is better? Is that kind of when you want to buy a bunch of crypto?
So I do a thing called dollar cost averaging, DCA. And that just means is you invest, whether it's crypto, stocks, whatever you're buying, right, on a consistent basis. So you treat it like a car payment. So if your car payment's like $500, right, like if you whatever you invest in, you treat it like that. So every month, same time, same day, every month, you buy the same amount and just keep doing that every month. And the reason is you're going to catch the highs. You're going to catch the lows. You're going to catch the median because no one's crystal ball really works. People can tell you exactly what it's going to be all the time. That's not true because you'd be a trillionaire if you did, right?
Right.
There's no way to predict it. So I would say dollar cost averaging. This applies to real estate too, right?
Yeah. So
most people nowadays look at days, weeks, and months. You got to think decades. So, your homework for everyone is to Google real estate prices, stock prices, and cryptocurrency prices and look at it over the years. And you're going to find over the years it's not bouncy. It goes up through time. It doesn't mean there's not hiccups, right?
Yeah.
So dollar cost averaging has been my thing that I do. And again, not financial advice. Talk to a financial professional. I'm just a nerd.
Sure.
But this works well for me and my friends.
This works
for
well.
30 years. So.
It has. No, trust me, Dan knows what he's doing. That's why he's here talking with us. And that's why you're the first person we thought of when we wanted to know what this stuff was. How long has crypto been around?
Crypto's been around quite a while. Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm saying it wrong, but anyway, he's like this. That's a fictional name for some guy or girl that actually made it initially. I got involved in 2014. It'd been around at least probably a few years before that, but not totally adopted or anything like that.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, in 2014. A professor from the University of Utah came in. And he's like, "Hey, I want to buy a bunch of computers." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "We're doing an experiment. We're going to mine this thing called Bitcoin." Oh. And he's like, "You should too. Let me show you how." So I don't know if you know this, but we built the largest Bitcoin mining facility in the state of Utah in 2014.
I did not know this.
Hughes, South Jordan. And we were just like printing all this free money. It was just weird. It went up to $1,700. Woo. And I was like, I made more money than selling computers for 30 years. And then it dropped to $130. And so I just kind of stashed them away and we closed our little mining factory.
So it was good for like how long? For a minute?
It was good for a few years.
And then crashed. And then it's kind of up and down, right? It's a roller coaster?
Well, it went down to $130 and still today they're $36,000 each.
Wow.
So it's cool.
Okay, so in my mind, I'm thinking, I didn't jump on the crypto train like a long time ago. And so should I still do it now? Is it worth it? Because you know how you hear some people like, I bought into it years ago and now it's worth this. Is it still worth to do it today?
Absolutely. So pretend you're looking at your grandpa and great-grandpa, right? Back in the 1940s, there were some nerds going, you should buy Union Pacific, Ford, General Electric, and Chevy stocks. Because there's a thing called the stock market, and it's only been around for like 20 years, but, and even in the 90s, hey, like there's this thing called technology, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft.
Yeah. Maybe
you should buy a little bit every month. So these cycles are there. So you're sitting in the inception of Apple. You're sitting in the inception of Ford and General Electric, right, and GE. Like, you're sitting right there. So, like, we are there right now. People ask me, Dan, 10 years, what's Bitcoin worth? I'm like, I don't know. My crystal ball is broken. Well, what if you had to guess? Because they asked me this question in 14, right? And I told them by 2022, it'll be, I don't know, 30 to 50 grand or something like that. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in there now, right? I think it'll be over $10 million of Bitcoin in a decade.
In another 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Do you think this is for everyone? Should everyone be investing in this and looking into this? Because like you said, it's gonna be the future.
I think only with money you're willing to lose. Because it's very volatile right now. Imagine investing in the typewriter company when the computer was invented, But I would say only what you're willing to use, dollar cost average every month. And if it dropped to zero, and how do you answer that question? It's like, if it goes to zero, would I be emotionally affected, like massively? Mm-hmm. If the answer is yes, you're investing too much, so do less.
So do less.
Yeah.
Do you think, and now we have a little bit of both. Obviously, it's gone, like we said, like you traded a goat back in the day for this and that, gold, all the evolution of it. Do you think now, I mean, right now we still have physical dollar bills and coins and credit cards and crypto. Do you think eventually those, like the physical dollar is just going to kind of be a thing of the past?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, like, look at your nieces and, nephews, like, are they carrying around $100 bills you normally? I mean, that much, like, and even look at people in their 20s and 30s, right? It's all digital Apple Pay or whatever, or Google Pay, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's like you're not carrying all this change in your purse, rattling around. All this, it's like,
or writing a check.
What
about checks? Do people still do that? People still do checks.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, there'll always be that. This is like the debate. People will be like, I love cars, right? Like Lambos and crazy stuff. But my favorite car is the Tesla. Well, any Tesla, right? But I have a lot of Teslas. I love Teslas. And they're like, but I love the sound of a car. I'm like, people used to love the sound of horse farts.
Out of every podcast we've done or any interview I have ever done, this is my favorite moment, and I will never forget it. Because you're right. You're right.
And horses are cool, and have a couple if you're really rich or something, right? But it's not like you're driving a horse to work.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
Same with crypto. Like, you're going to be using that. And yeah, you'll have like some $2 bills grandma gave you at home.
Sure.
And the first
I
dollar
actually do have a $2 bill that my grandma gave me at home. So it's funny you said
and the
that,
first tip that you got when you were like a waiter or waitress.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep that. It's like,
yeah.
But it's not like you could use it every day.
But eventually we're going to be seeing more and more of this, obviously. So do you think, okay, I know you talk a lot about with your company PC laptops, like helping people avoid being scammed. Speaking of that, is there a chance that like a big hack could jeopardize earnings for crypto, or, obviously you can probably be scammed with this? Yeah,
so let's talk about both those things. First, there are ways to be scammed, a lot of ways in crypto. The safest way my opinion is for people to use like crypto.com or Coinbase, so like a major exchange.
Okay.
And don't use your text messaging on your phone for two-stage authentication, because people can steal your cell phone number. You know how like when you log into your banking, it'll like text you and be like, hey, is this you? Put this number. Use a thing called Google Authenticator.
Google Authenticator.
Yeah,
okay.
It's in every app store. But then you have a little app on your phone and it has a digital code to approve. That's going to give you better safety, okay?
Instead of going through your text messages.
Yeah, because people can SIM hack you and steal your phone number, and all this kind of stuff. So So that's for beginners. And for more advanced stuff, you can have hot wallets and all kinds of crazy stuff like MetaMask and a bunch of things. But for beginners that want to get into crypto, I would use one of those bigger exchanges, and you probably are a little safer than a
That's
hot wallet.
reputable.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think there could be like a big hack? What do you think about that?
There could be quantum computing, which is a whole nother crazy story. It's a next level of computing, which could compromise the blockchain, but then they'll just go to quantum security. So it's just the next level. So
it sounds like as long as you're smart about it, like you said, do what you're willing to lose, be like aware of that, but also be aware that you could be scammed. Like just be smart about it is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, in cryptocurrency, there's a lot of scammers out there, but there's a lot of banking scammers out there, and there's muggers and things like that. So you just got to treat it like any other monetary risk.
Yeah.
Just safety protocols, right?
Sure, like in everything, Are there certain cryptocurrencies that are better than others?
Well, that's a debatable topic. What I usually do, recommend for beginners, though, is look at the bigger projects. So if you go into Coinbase, you can look at like the top 10 and they have momentum. Because like for stocks and stuff, people are like, well, damn, what stocks? I don't give stock recommendations, but I'm like, well, I look at the biggest companies like maybe Amazon and Apple and those kind of things, like research, talk to a professional. But the chance of like Apple or Amazon going away is like fairly small. I mean, they could, right?
Right.
And that's probably the same with larger cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin being the largest, probably has the chance of hanging out.
Yeah.
Longer.
Okay. All right. How many are there? I mean, we don't have to have an exact number, but I'm thinking in my mind, are there 8 different types of cryptocurrencies? Are there hundreds? Do you know how many there are?
Tens of thousands.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A little more than 8.
Yeah, just like stocks, right? Like so many.
Yeah.
And most are garbage.
Okay.
So like I call it a crap coin spread.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people go, what should I buy? I'm like, well, you could look at the top 10 projects, right? They probably have the most momentum, so their chances are they'll get to be there. The little obscure ones, or like buying that weird stock tip your brother-in-law gave you at Thanksgiving, or that weird cryptocurrency he told you to buy, it may moon and go like 10,000%, or it may just be worth 0, you know? So more risk, more upside, less risk on the bigger caps.
Okay. If we have a beginner listening right now with cryptocurrency, what do you suggest they do, maybe just like to dip their toes in?
I would go to Coinbase or crypto.com. You can compare them and set up an account. Make sure you use that Google Authenticator, right? And they will give you, Coinbase will give you free crypto just to watch education videos.
Oh.
So just go watch the darn videos and make yourself, I don't know, $100 or something.
You could earn some just doing that.
Yeah, and then just like watch it and understand it. If you feel comfortable with it, then you can dollar cost average every month, whatever you're cool with losing.
Yeah, maybe start small. Start small.
But you got to just get started, you know?
That's true. You just start in anything. You just start. Is there anything else you want people to know about crypto that I haven't asked you? Because I feel like we could fill days talking about this, but.
So computers, we do PC laptops here in Utah, Zydex, you know, around the country. But if you're in Utah, a lot of people are doing crypto on their computer, which is good. It's actually the safest platform, a good computer, you know. But you got to make sure you don't have viruses, malware, all that stuff. So I think people should come in and make sure they have good protection software and let us scan it for free to make sure they don't have any weird baddies. That's important.
That's a good idea.
But that's important with any sort of hacking, banking hacking, you know, crypto, stocks, or anything. You don't want to have viruses and malware and stuff.
Yeah, they'll take good care of you too. PC laptops, they're amazing. I mean, you got to be, in this day and age, you got to make sure that your computer's clean and make sure that you're not having any bugs or things coming in, because it happens.
Yeah. You know what? My ADD is killing me, but what's really crazy, people always ask, do you have a cheap computer? I'm like, it's for my kid. I'm like, if your kid wants to get involved in the metaverse and cryptocurrency, you better buy a fast computer, like a really fastest one you can afford, because that's going to be the future. The metaverse is the future. NFT, crypto, metaverse, right?
Is that what that means? Metaverse? That's all those things?
Metaverse is like the new virtual universe of computing, right? So you have the internet, right? But it requires a lot of graphics and a lot of power. You don't want your kid necessarily, I mean, I guess they could be an accountant or a lawyer or whatever, but they're probably going to make way more money in the metaverse understanding how to code in that area, how to create stuff, and how the economics work there. And so, like, my dad was crazy. He bought me the most expensive computer he could afford back in the, 70s. Good move, right?
Yeah, because look where you are now.
Yeah, and parents should get their kid the greatest computer and don't yell at them for playing video games, because video games are part of the experience of keeping it interesting.
Yeah, I really like that, Dan, because you've come on our show many times and we talk about that, and he always brings these cool looking setups and everything, and you're always telling us to invest in your kids.
Don't buy your kid a $399 off the internet junky Chromebook computer. Seriously, get yourself, your kid, something awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to make their brain bigger.
Invest in their future.
Yeah. And
the kids are our future.
Yeah. And we're just going to be more Social Security, so your kids are your Social Security retirement plan.
I mean, hello. You want to be taken care of, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah, go into PC Laptops. Definitely, they will take care of you. And we're going to jump into, really quick, what we call our Fresh Five. And I want you to just, these are the answers off the top of your head. You ready? Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Oh, I love Christmas. Favorite place to travel?
Exactly where I am. Like, I'm here right now with you. This is great.
I love it. You're very present. What TV show would you love to make a cameo on?
Jackass. Well, it's a movie, but
that's fine. You can say that. I love it.
So, is that gonna be censored?
No, you're good. Okay. Best gift you've ever received?
NFTs from my friends.
Okay. Who is someone you would love to have coffee with? Is there someone that you were thinking, like, this would be such a cool conversation, I would love to pick their brain? Who would you love to have coffee with? Ooh, either.
Dead, but is truly alive still. Jesus. And then, around modern day, Elon Musk.
Okay. It's going to happen. I know that's going to happen because, you're just on the same wavelengths, and he would think you're so cool because you are cool. Dan, where can we follow you? And if you're local, you can go into PC Laptops, right?
Yeah, PCLaptops.com if you need computers in Utah. Dan's Millionaire Code.
Okay.
On Instagram, there's 1 million fakes, so make sure there's more than 150,000 followers because there's 170 fake Dans out there. that's where to go.
Make sure it's legit.
I will never ask to send you money, though. If you get a direct message from me to send me money,
Yeah.
then it's a scam or fake.
Then you know it's not real.
Yeah, I just give out advice. I don't friendship.
He knows the scams. You are amazing, and you're such a kind human being. Thank you so much for explaining cryptocurrency to us. You're an absolute genius, and we appreciate any time we can spend with you. And please listen to our podcast. It's fresh off the set, and rate, review, subscribe. We will see you next week.